Hello, Uwe. What a pleasure to meet you. So we're here to discuss your new film, First Shift. Now, you retired, or you announced your retirement back in 2018, and First Shift is one of your first, or if not your first film back. So, how did you get your mojo back for filmmaking?
I think it was the COVID times, and it was I felt like I had to get out there again, and I missed making movies. I focused for a few years on a restaurant in Vancouver, what I owned and was running, and I think I love making movies. The retirement came like 2016 after Rampage 3, where I felt like there's nothing else to tell, and it's kind of. The Blockbuster and all the DVD video rentals, they went down the hill. And there was this time where streaming was not so big, but DVD Blu-ray already did. So now I felt like, what should I do? Like, I don't see a future. And then really 2020, 2021, I felt like I should make movies again. And I had that idea to do something in New York. I really like New York. And I know that in New York, you get as an independent film guy, away with a lot. You know, you can shoot everywhere. Nobody really cares in New York what you're doing. And that was the plan, to do this kind of like a hit and run film where you have some days where you have a real setup with a lot of police and extras and action, but you have also various days where you're like a very small crew touring around and selling the city. You know, I really wanted to show New York also in the film, and showing like the architecture, the streets, the street life, additional to telling a story about two cops who are kind of the old buddy movie cops, bad boys feeling, you know, they're not getting along first and stuff like like this. So little humor also.
I say you're not going to tell me this was kind of like guerrilla filmmaking, and you've been going around New York without filming permits.
I know. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we had an overall permit that you're allowed to film, but then the permit is kind of wishy-washy. You don't know exactly what does that exactly mean. So we just film everywhere whatever we want, and
Right.
that's the good thing. You know, you go in the subway, and the people there were not extras. And they still don't look into the camera. They don't care. That's New York, right? If I
Yeah.
do this
Yeah.
here by Frankfurt in Germany or in Vancouver or something, they will all like, you film me, it's not allowed, I want money, whatever, they wave in the camera. So the New Yorkers are caved in and in their own world when they're going somewhere, so they don't care. That brings a lot of value to a film, I think, you
Yeah.
know.
So, as your leads, you've got Gino Anthony Pesci and Kristen Renton. So, how did they come across your radar when you began casting?
Yeah, I did. I hired a casting agency, and then I put also out casting calls, like on Spotlight, backstage, and stuff like this. And a lot of people applied. A lot of people came up, and Gino applied. And then I looked at his credits, and I, oh, you were the lead of Shade of Blue with Jennifer Lopez. Why you applied? And he said during COVID, he moved away from LA. He dumped the agent, and he lived by New York, close by in Philadelphia. And uh, he said he really likes the premise of the film, and it was for him kind of also going back to acting in a way. And so we had a lot of chats, and of course, me not able to write New York dialogue, but he is from there, so he started working on the dialogue. And then he made he knew Kristen Renton, and she lives in Louisiana because she moved also away from LA. She couldn't stand Los Angeles anymore. And then we had that three guys, we were on Zoom the whole time discussing dialogue, discussing their characters. And they brought really in all this kind of how they react to each other, what is her character, where she comes from. And the same for him, that he lost his child, that the marriage was divorced. That's all from them. And I basically had that idea and wrote it down, like two cops have a shift and it goes sideways, up and down, crazy. You know, the mafia story, the suicide with the brother, the Willie who gets a heart attack, and the dog needs rescue. That was all the stuff I wrote. And they brought all the life in between these two characters, and it was very good. And then we planning to do First Shift 2 and 3 and we write it from the beginning on together. You know, that I'm more the structure story guy and they are more the dialogue guys.
Well, I was going to say the film ends with a coming soon and part two. So those are good to ready to go, ready to
Yeah,
film.
we want to do it in September. Money is tight as usual, but you know, but we want to do it in September in the same strategy we did the first part. And the plan is to shoot two parts, like that. It's a little longer, and that we have two more films basically coming up. That we do it in one big, basically time zone, like 4 or 5 weeks of shooting in New York. Because what I don't want is, again, like you have the second part and then everybody emails me like, okay, where's the button next part, you know?
Yeah.
So and I like, yeah, nowhere, because we didn't have it. And that's the reason I think that we should do then two more films, to do it like a trilogy, that we really have kind of an ending to it, so that we could end after 3 parts, right? So yeah.
So, as well as directing, as you say, you've written this or done story structure for it. Did you do much research with real life cops to find out, you know, about their own first shift?
Yeah, that is also, we brought in through Gino two New York cops, one street cop, one more detective, and they did a lot of fact checking and went through it and so on. My research was, I watched Goodfellas, so I'm good to go. So my research was more like I watched enough movies with cops, but it was good that Gino brought these guys in, and that we had this kind of how they talk on the radio, for example, right? So how a car, the number of the car, where you have to go, the locations. So that's all like proved by these other cops who were then also extras on the film. So
Oh,
there's
right.
some of our cops are actual real cops in the film.
Now, Kristen plays this plays Angela, and she's this socially media obsessed cop. Um, I'm just wondering how much of a love-hate relationship you have with social media, particularly in the current climate.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. It's a love-hate thing, right? It's on one hand, it's a total waste of time, or makes you upset every day. On the other hand, it's definitely an additional news and communication possibility for the whole world, you know. And of course, the danger is when it comes to kids. You know, my son is 10, has a cell phone, has a Apple phone, right? He got it when he was 10 years old because everybody else had it. And then what's happening? They're watching videos the whole day, you know, but 5 seconds videos, 10 seconds videos, not
Yeah.
even 10 minutes videos. So that's the thing what also changes massively, I think, the audience and the attention span for viewers, like of movies, you know. So that's for film buffs like we are hard, you know, to see that this new generation is maybe not able to watch Apocalypse Now anymore without switching it off after 5 minutes, you know, like stuff like this. That's very, very hard for the film industry or for film lovers at the same time. But on the other hand, of course, on social media, you can advertise your stuff. Yeah.
Now, Uwe, you've been, I think even you will admit, you've been quite outspoken and forthright about your views of critics and at times fellow filmmakers. Um, do you have any regrets about things that you've said or done in the past?
Yes and no, right? So I'm on one hand, I think it's better and healthier that you don't eat up frustration, and that you know, that you go out and bring it out there if you don't like something, or you call somebody out and say you brought bullshit, you never watched my movie, whatever. I think that was important for my health too, to do this, that I don't was because I know a lot of directors, they are just eating it all up and don't respond ever, and they were very depressed. You know, I think it's the wrong way to handle things. On the other hand, I think, of course, I regret that sometimes I answered too quick, too harsh, I don't regret my boxing fights against the critics.
Well, I was going to ask about
Yeah,
that, the
I
boxing.
think that that was a good publicity stunt, and that was also a good statement in a way to clear it in the ring, you know. So from this point of view, I'm totally fine with it, you know. But it's of course also when you see get on Reddit or something, you have so many like completely idiots where you know like they're not getting anything and they're just getting off on a, like an anger issue and going completely sideways. That there are threads or stuff like this where it's totally a waste of time to even look into it, because it's just like you post a trailer and then you have like 500 responses and they're all like going off on House of the Dead again. You know, like whatever, like they're just going
Yeah.
completely sideways with everything. And you're like, cannot somebody write what that like the first ship trailer, if they like the trailer, if they're all going, oh, Uwe Boll, it has to be horrible, whatever, you know, that's kind of course, the frustration part with all of this
So,
stuff.
so Uwe, where we are now in your life, do you think you've mellowed as a filmmaker and as a person?
Um, yes and no. So I think I definitely got older, right? So and definitely you think about things different a little twice now, how you react to people, and not everybody gets directly like the finger back or something. So I'm more mellow in that way, that I don't respond to everybody anymore. What I did like 10, 15 years ago, whoever attacked me got it right back in the face. So that doesn't, I'm not doing it anymore.
Uwe, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
your
thanks
time.
so much.